this video tutorial, we're going to look at how to write the character for year. But before we actually look at the character itself, I want to introduce you to one of the important elements in the character. Now, I think you already know it. It's the character for person. It's got 2 strokes, and it looks like that. Now, this becomes the top element of our character for year, and in order to fit it into the top of the character, we have to change it somewhat. I'll just move it over here. And over here, let's have a look what happens to this character when we squish it up and make it the top portion of another character. The stroke on the left remains, but it becomes smaller. And the stroke on the right ends up being horizontal, like that. So that's what the element looks like when you squish it up and use it as part of a bigger character. So now that we know that that element means person, we can go back and look at the character for year. Okay, we're going to start our character for year by putting in that person element. So down on the left there, and that nice horizontal stroke going across like that. So that represents person, and that's on the top of the character. Now the rest of this character, well, the real pictograph that began the story of year isn't really much use to us, so we're going to make up a new story. And this story is going to be about a beautiful princess who falls asleep not for 100 years, but for 1 year, because this character means 1 year. Now we already have the beautiful princess up the top. There she is, fast asleep. What we need to do next is we need to draw the bed that she is levitating upon. And we begin by going across. There's the bed, and as you can see, the princess is not quite on the bed, but she's hovering above it. Next, we're going to pop the leg of that bed down there, and finally we're going to draw the floor of her castle, and that goes across like that. So we've got the princess sleeping up the top, we've got the bed next, then we have the leg of the bed, and we've got the ground. Then the handsome prince has to make his way through the forest, and he has to waken the sleeping princess with a kiss. And then the next thing that happens, of course, is that the two of them walk down the aisle. So that's the story of what happened in one rather eventful year of a sleeping princess and a handsome prince. Now we're going to have a look how to write the date in Japanese, and we're going to start with using the system when you write across the page. So that's the modern way of writing. So when you're going across, it's a very simple rule. If you write numbers, you use the same numbers as we do. So to write 2014, you would simply write it as we do. 2014. And then afterwards, you'd put your year. And I hope you remember that the year is the sleeping princess at the top, her bed underneath that, the bed leg underneath that, the ground underneath that, and then walking down the aisle to finish off. So that would be 2014 when writing across. Now when you're writing down, there are 2 different alternatives, but we're going to use the easy one. We're going to start off simply by writing 2014 down using our numbers. So 2014. Now when you're writing down, you're actually not allowed to use Western numbers. You have to translate them into Japanese. But just for dates, you can do this very simply. So for 2, you can simply write the kanji for 2. For 0, you can write actually the 0. For 1, you put the kanji for 1. And for 4, you would simply put the kanji for 4. And there you get 2014, which would equate to 2014. So there's our 2014, and then underneath we would simply put the kanji again for year. There's our sleeping princess, the bed leg, the ground, and walking down the aisle.